You've said that the lives of women aren't really going to change until the lives of men change, which is a really bold statement. And then to actually think about it that way, what do you mean by that?
Look, we have about, 60 years now of women's movement and major changes pertaining to women, and we are way not done. And there's still so much to do. But I do think that in our interaction with men, the life of women will not change until men also get to go through their revolution and their men's movement. And the questioning of the main values attributed to men, the identity structures that are available for men, the relational structures that are available for men. I mean, women have had a space in which to question some of these things way more than men. And I think that men deserve it, it's necessary, and it's what will allow women to make more changes. It will allow a greater fluidity in general. And if everything in our economy is about flexibility and fluidity and then optimization and everything, I believe that the same thing needs to happen in the relational space. And men have not been given that permission. I mean, there are some countries that will give you paternity leave, and there are some countries that will understand that, men deserve more than 2 days away, or that men don't have to prove that they're really committed to the job because they come back 2 days after the kid is born. Because if he stays home, then he's less of a man and less of a high productivity guy, and it's all of that. And those are the permissions that have not been given yet to men.
What about the tension? It feels like if the men have all this tension over here, of course it's going to affect everyone else in the world. And we're busy pushing each other to prove each other that we're men, and we're busy always asking each other, what have you been productive, and what have you produced, and what is the market cap of your company? And how are we going to make those changes?
Look, we are born women and we become men. There is not a single culture where women have to go to the bush and to the woods in order to prove her femininity. This is across civilizations, whereas boys have to continuously prove that they are not women and that they are real men. There is no real woman. And maybe it has to do with their ability to have children, and therefore there is just a given fact. Until now, that's the one thing that it's part of our nature, our biology, and so we don't have to prove that. But I think it's even chromosomally. We start XX, and then we become XY. And so men are continuously having to prove that they are men. Whatever the concept of men will be in the particular culture in which they live, what are the attributes of what it is like to be a man? Generally, it goes with fearlessness, competitiveness, self-sufficiency, things that ultimately have made men often quite lonely, even if it's lonely at the bottom or lonely at the top, lonely. The place where they probably are the least lonely is in the military. Because in the military, men are allowed to care for each other, they have to care for each other, they're allowed to weep for each other, they're allowed to die for each other, they're allowed to have love for each other, and maybe sports next. And they're allowed to touch each other. In sports, they're even allowed to touch each other without having to fear, their homosexual panic. So
you really see through the matrix, don't you?
Seriously, the business world is the opposite of the military. In the business world, everybody has to climb above the other. In the military, everyone understood that the strength of the pack or the team, the sports, it's the same. The two places where the strength of the pack, where male bonding is normative, rather than a byproduct or a threat.
How are we going to fix this? This doesn't sound like we're going in the right place.
But I think that...
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonrealacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonrealacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.